These comments are great. I asked, and for the discussion question, if anyone could give us an explanation of the Peter Pan concept, and I think the best one that we got was man baby and lady toddler. Those are really great. But let's talk about it. The concept of Peter Pan and how it's frequently linked to pathological narcissism. What do we got here? Because the narcissists are people who just simply refuse to mature, and they're perceived by others as being juvenile and infantile. They're self centered, aloof, petulant, bratty, pompous, demanding, just all the things. So we'll just say that physically they are adults, but mentally they allow themselves to still be children. They purposefully avoid the mental growth in favor of the infantilization, which is the contrast between one's advancing chronological age and their delayed behavior, cognitive, and emotional development. Some narcissists will even occasionally speak in a childlike manner and replicate the body language of a toddler. And of course, a lot of these behaviors can be overt, but the majority of the narcissists will use covert tactics whenever portraying themselves in such an immature way. And as responsible adults, we've all had those moments where we're just like, oh God, why can't I be a kid again and have my parents just take care of me? Whereas the narcissists, they actually go out and try to accomplish the feat of reverting back to their childhood. They completely reject or stay away from all of their grown up responsibilities, avoid getting formal education for adults or cultivating adult skills that are just needed to survive in the world, you know? They avoid their adult obligation to other people, particularly those who are the closest to them, like their spouses and children. They do not have stable employment, or if they do have employment, they won't consistently work at high quality levels. They never have consistency with their work and home life, children, or if they even have children, they don't establish roots with any person or in any place. They don't have any significant friendships or relationships. Many narcissists still have like really strong ties to their families, specifically those family members who will act as their enablers. The narcissist keeps playing the part of the child by clinging to these people, thus having being able to avoid having to make the mature, sometimes uncomfortable decisions in their lives. These things are delegated to the enablers, their parents, siblings, spouses, or any other family member or close friend. All adult duties and obligations, like the domestic or household work, making a sustainable income, and even parenting their own children. It makes them feel liberated and unrestrained and as if they're prepared to take on the world, or to put it a simple way, they it makes them feel almighty and omnipresent. Basically, they surround themselves with people who will do the actual work while they only allow themselves the opportunity to jump in and take praise for whatever's being done. They contribute just enough to their own lives to say that they did something, or at the very least they'll do just enough to pat themselves on the back. Honorable mention to the narcissists who will wait until all the work's done, then jump in and like add a dash of red and then take all the praise for the project. But why is the narcissist so resistant to maturing? Why do they put off the inevitable? and view growing up as a terrible experience that should be avoided at all costs to their development as a person and their ability to fully realize who they are, because maintaining their infantile status effectively satisfies all of their narcissistic demands and defenses and fits in well with the narcissist's internal psychodynamic landscape. Basically, it works for them, so they see no problem. If it ain't broke, right? So we understand that pathological narcissism typically develops in early childhood or early adolescence as an immature response towards abuse and trauma, which is why we also need to understand that narcissism is directly linked to the emotional makeup. It's linked to cognitive issues and worldview of the abused child or teenager. Narcissist is the equivalent of tortured or thwarted child. Now, sidebar, I'm not saying any of this to excuse the poor behavior. I'm just stating the facts about one of the ways that these individuals are groomed into being the narcissists that they become. So we need to remember that parental abuse includes overprotecting, smothering, indulging, overvaluing, and idolizing children. Nothing is more narcissistically fulfilling than the admiration and adulation that a precocious child prodigy receives. Their narcissistic apply. So, addicts to it include narcissists who are the regrettable results of excessive pampering and protection. You know how people tell you to go to therapy, and the parents' biggest fear is, oh, did you blame it all on your mom? Well, in this case, yeah, we're going to blame it on the parents. No, we can blame the parents or guardians or whatever for helping to cultivate the problem. But once the narcissist becomes an adult, it's all on them, which is why we will not make excuses for adult narcissism. The uncomplicated fact is that narcissistic traits and actions are tolerated in little kids. Narcissists are aware of this. They compete with children for the limited narcissistic supply, despise them for it. They try to be like kids and so on and so forth. It's acceptable for kids to feel conceited and self important. And it's even encouraged as part of building their self esteem. Kids regularly inflate their achievements and abilities, their knowledge, relationships, and personality features without being reprimanded. And this is the exact same behavior that an adult narcissist will engage in. Young children's obsession with illusions of limitless wealth or fame, terrifying infinite power, and unparalleled intelligence is a natural and healthy element towards their development. Adolescents are expected to be consumed with ideal, perpetual, all conquering love or passion, or with sexual performance, as in the psychosomatic narcissist. So, what is considered normal throughout, I want to say, the first 16 years of life is afterwards classified as a disease. It's okay for you to act like a self-centered little asshole when you're 3, but when you're 33, not so much. Children, young children have a strong belief that they're more special than any and everybody else, and maybe the world revolves around them, and that they should only be handled, understood, or linked with other remarkable, unique, or high status individuals. But over time, they grow out of it, especially with socialization and maturing. These children turn into young adults who come to understand the significance of teamwork and the intrinsic worth of other individuals. A narcissist would never. They are perpetually stuck in that initial stage of self centeredness. Teenagers and preteens need a lot of affirmation and attention and admiration. It's it's a passing stage that gives way to one's feeling of inner worth and being self-regulated. But the narcissists continue to rely on other people for their sense of self and their worth and their confidence. They're easily attacked because they're brittle and disjointed, making even suggested or fictitious criticisms about them is incredibly damaging. Children feel entitled, even well into puberty and sometimes into their late teenage years. Since they're still young, they they don't understand patience. So they want automatic adherence to whatever their demands may be, even if it's ridiculous, or for preferential treatment. As children gain compassion and reverence for limitations and requirements and have a better understanding of quid pro quo and preferences of others, they evolve out of this selfish way of thinking. Whereas the narcissists, they never mature out of this stage. It's always going to be about them and what they want and need. Children are much like narcissistic adults. They display traits of being interpersonally exploitative. They manipulate other people to further their own goals. Children lack empathy throughout their formative years, and that's like from birth to maybe 6 or 7. They're unable to understand and accept or relate to other people's emotions and needs, preferences, priorities, or decisions. Young children and adults with narcissistic tendencies both harbor uh, the they envy others and occasionally try to harm or destroy the people who've pretty much irritated them or didn't do what they want. Both groups will exhibit like scornful and arrogant behavior. They believe that they're superior and powerful and all knowing and invulnerable. They think they're above the law and ever present. They think they're magical. Like Peter Pan can fly from here to there and do what they want whenever they want just because. And they'll lose their cool when they're challenged or confronted about their behaviors. Try telling a little 3 or 4 year old no and watch the meltdown begin. But by genuinely acting like a child and refusing to mature and grow up, ignoring the telltale signs of adulthood, and by pressuring others to embrace them as the immortal child, worry free, limitless Peter Pan, the narcissist tries to justify their childlike behavior and their immature mentality. And of course, it's not their fault, because if people are just going to continue to do for them, what's the point of them even trying to do for themselves?